Hi everyone. Here we are at the end in the early evening here in New Zealand, at the end of the 22nd. I know there will be some people in the world experiencing the 21st. We're in very exciting times in my view and my experience. I woke up this morning feeling that I had moved into these entirely new energies. They felt fresher, lighter, higher frequency, a higher vibration. And even though I've been in this beautiful summer's day here, it's felt like that since the early hours of the morning, that we've been in that energy, like a beautiful day of renewal. And then I discovered, hello, it's the Chinese New Year. So one of my clients sent me a happy new year greeting, and I really wasn't aware of that. So it, it strikes me that today we're in this kind of coming into this place where a lot of points meet. So we are officially in this Chinese New Year, the year of the water rabbit. I'll have to go and look that up. We're on the 22nd, which is, in my world of numerology, it's a powerful portal experience that we have those on the 11th of the month and the 22nd of the month. And then I remember right at the beginning of January, when I started to be drawing up notes about January, and Gaia said, right, I'm just trying to find where my cursor is. Here it is. Let's talk about the 22nd. So hello everyone. I just needed to get some little pop-up box that had come across your messages. So Chinese New Year, welcoming the year of the rabbit. Yes, thank you, Phoenix. It's 1:40 p.m. where she's located, and the clock on your video is showing 4:44 before your live stream. Perfect, because we're in this day of the 22, which is also the day of the 4. And the 4 to me is always about the foundations. And the 22 to me is always about these new cosmic energies, wisdom, knowledge, information, data coming through, being often crystallized in the body and anchored, move through the emotional body and then anchored into the ground. And so I imagine that that this day, we're in this new start, and we're in this laying in the new foundations. Good evening to you, Billy. Kia ora, Heidi. Hiya, Charlotte. So yeah, this magical day. I'm so sorry, because do you know, I went and caught up with some friends for lunch, and just sitting outside, and I thought that I was leaving, that it was about 3:30, and I got in the car and it was 6 o'clock. And then I'm like, oh, that's all right. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm supposed to be doing this live. So I've just kind of landed here, poured myself a glass of water, and grabbed my notes. But to me, it's felt like quite an extraordinary day. And it's like this coalescing, this coming into a point today. So various kind of trajectories coming into this point. So yep, we're at the beginning of the Chinese New Year. We're in this 22 day. We're in this day where all planets are turning direct. I'm not sure when that happens for the entire world, but it's the 22nd. So we're in the 22nd here. And so, over this period of time until the rest of the world moves into the 22nd, sometime in there, all planets move direct. So it's like taking the brakes off, and we can come into this place of receiving. So, Gaia talks about this day. There's so much she's said about this day, and I won't be repeating it, but if you don't know about it, go back and listen to the video about the 22nd. So I start talking to her about January, and boom, we've written 6 pages about the 22nd. So these are these higher codes that haven't come to the earth before, she said. Today, she is saying that everybody, every single being on the earth will have this little taster, this little experience of feeling these fifth dimensional energies, whether they are awake or not, but also that everybody today will have, or on this day, will have this awakening experience. So here we are, we're receiving the new. It feels different. It may feel as though you don't know what to do with it, and that, I want to say, that is in perfect alignment with the energies, because it is as though everything's up for a relook, everything's up for a renewal, for a reset, and that we may not know on which foundation it is we're going to launch that from. So you may have been having that experience of not knowing maybe who, or that who am I, where am I, what am I doing, what is this day about, what is my life about. All of those, I think, would be pretty reasonable queries that might be coming up for self. So also drink a lot of water. We definitely need a lot of this hydration. So I'm probably going to do some kind of guided meditation sometime during the week when I get my week sorted. But I wanted to read this bit to you because I thought that this was rather beautiful. So it's time to be letting go of the old. So this is the old, the new old, the yesterday old, and come into deep inner contemplation. And I really liked how this came. Who am I? One breath at a time. One molecule unfolding, renewing, rebirthing at a time. So you might give that some thought. So, yeah, notes from yesterday. So I don't know about your experiences. A couple of people I had lunch with, they were having the experience with their head and vision that I was having a day or so ago, or maybe last time I spoke, whenever that was, a couple of days ago. But yesterday for me, I had energy in my head again, but it was definitely related to my ears. So head, ears, and temples strongly affected. A huge sort of intensity, heavy pressure. That was the energy I felt yesterday for the 21st. And a lot of electrical energy could be felt, especially in the head, which was a bit of a continuation for me from the day before. So I had a couple of days of feeling a bit like that. I always have to read the notes to remember, honestly. Hello, Lauren. Yeah, another big internal fire and squeeze. Yeah, love it. Hello, Sally. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I know, it's so interesting how we get them at different times. So yesterday morning, so you will have heard me say about how I've watched for the last couple of years at least this, like a hexagonal overlay, as though I've got tulle net and there's a hexagon shape, and that is in this light blue or mid blue color that sits over the sky, and that in the dawn, I mean, maybe you see it at other times of the day, or maybe some people see it all day, but I only ever see it in the dawn. And so what I watched yesterday, which was really interesting, and I haven't investigated it, I'll just tell you, was the hexagons. It was as though the net was this normal kind of net, but then all of a sudden it was as though it got further away and the hexagons got smaller. So I noticed that. And what I got around that was this hexagonal grid was in flux. And also, as I have had witnessed the yesterday morning, it became closer and then it was further away. And I want to say to you that that is our divine light matrix. And I was told, oh yeah, so I did ask about it, I forgot. I was told that that holds our reality. And so it's moving. Also yesterday, there were more, for me, there were more rare wing activations occurring. And I wanted to ask you, are you beginning to remember who you are and why you are here? And are you receiving greater insight or more details about your mission, your purpose? Because this time that we're in now, it ought to be assisting you to get clarity on all of that. I'll come back and read what I've just seen that Larissa has written in a moment. And when I went to visit with Gaia, she was bathed in this golden light and held in bated breath of anticipation. That's how she felt, expressed herself to me yesterday morning. And I got told that we should be childlike. We should look for, find, and create miracles. And then we should appreciate the miracles that we've created, and the wonder and magic and awe, and look for all the miracles in nature, because we can see miracles in nature every day. So it's showing that we're definitely back, to these analogies that we've had before about the racing track, the athletics track, and yesterday I got given a bit of that again, that we are, let me just check this. Oh yeah, so we had the super new moon yesterday as well. So back to this analogy of having the warm-up. That was what Guy was showing me. Having the warm-up before settling into the starting blocks for the sprint. Alignment energy is definitely in a higher frequency yesterday. There was a lot of that, as though people were being pulled up to or pulled into their alignment. And you may feel these energies above your shoulders, around your head, as quite vertical, moving upwards. And again, a reminder about up-leveling the levels of hydration, to be still and clear in your own energy space. So be very self-responsible. This is kind of where we're coming to, and we will lead the way in that, to be totally modeling this whole self-responsibility. So self-responsibility about our thoughts, our words, our action, and our energy field, and keeping it clear and keeping it aligned, because that's what everybody needs to come to. And we are the teachers of that, just through the modeling. So those of you who are forerunners would now, Gaia is saying, be served to imagine yourselves being cheered on at the International Athletics Stadium Games, ready to begin to set the new standard, to embed the progression and the enhancement for the others to follow in your footsteps. You, centered, aligned in your highest divine order, sitting in your light, balanced in your harmony and peace. Are you ready? Are you smiling? Are you smiling? Are you smiling in this watery new moon? Your lead affects the rest. It impacts the collective. So we're moving in a whole lot of ways, but one of the ways that we're moving is from being an individual into being an individuation. And individuation is this blending, this merging, this integration of our conscious and unconscious, of our consciousness and our unconsciousness. So this is the place that we're in, where we are integrating all of our shadow and all of our unconscious hidden aspects and memories with our higher aspects, so that we can come into greater love, into higher love, love of self first and then of others. And then beginning to consider and speak about in conversation about our new direction as humans and as planet. And so you might begin to think of some kind of, starter questions in conversation. And I am going to be putting together, I'm going to launch a series of videos that are focused on specific areas about our new future, our future Earth and society, and the aspects, considerations, themes and questions to consider in our future Earth experience in a whole lot of areas. And then today, it's just been a magical day. Right, so before I get to the 22nd, let's come back to here where there's a whole lot of questions. So Larissa is saying, heard a low, deep sound in my ears that I never heard. It was there for a minute, then fade away. I look at the clock and it was 13:07. I'm born on the 13th of July. Oh, magic. So see that as a bit of magic, a bit of synchronicity. I definitely had energy sound in my ears yesterday or the day before, which was like a very sort of, it's hard to even explain, like a sonic sound, or like if you imagine a sound could be thrown, which I guess it can, like from a speaker or something. It was like that. It was like it had that kind of feel to it, as though if it expanded, it could have hurt. I could feel it strongly physically in my ears, and I thought, we're going through another audio upgrade. Lauren feeling quick electrical pains in the left side of her head yesterday, heart chakra and throat expansions now. Yeah, I think that's in alignment with my experience as well. Charlotte, lots of clarity for her project. Fantastic. Yeah, this whole idea about having a lot of clarity about what, where, who, why, when, coming in, buzzing, feels the handbrake off, most definitely. Clarified and very aligned, Charlotte is saying. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, well, let's have a ditto of sending that out to the rest of us for projects to come together in that aligned way. Charlotte's saying the same, had the brakes on in this holding space for about 2 years, and now the walls have been broken and the brakes are off. Yeah, and so we should be able to speed this up, accelerate it, expand it, enlighten it, illuminate it more. Is it possible to have activation on one wing? Yes. So I think, I don't know when, in the last week or so in videos I've spoken about that there are 3 places that I know of, and that won't necessarily be all of them, that we can have wing activations in our rear shoulder blades, in our front in the collarbone and in these little indentations in here on the top of the shoulders. And that, so that's six, let's call that 6 areas. So it could be, you know, that we get activations in those, and there's no particular order as far as I know, although I have noticed the rear wing activations in my clients first, but not necessarily both at the same time, some separate. All right, so so the 22nd, I mean, it's like the whole expression of what might come is landing. That's how it feels to me. It's showing up in our physical world. All these energetic things, they are coming into the physical, and it's tangible. You know, our prime minister resigned, and Lauren, who lives in Perth, had to tell me because I don't keep up with all of that. But to me, that is a very strong signal about this time. So, you know, Gaia spoke about, and has for the last 18 months, that the first 3 areas, these broad areas in our world that would collapse first, to be showing up as dysfunctional, would be government, the economy, and health. So health in terms of the big picture of health, medical, pharmaceutical, natural medicines, that they would be the things that fell over and rebirthed, you know. And so I felt that that was quite interesting timing, her resignation. So this is what I wrote this morning. Brand new day and brand new energies here in New Zealand today. Lighter, brighter, higher. And I feel quite emotional feeling into it. And I did. I had tears in my eyes. It was really interesting. It was like was the tears that you have of relief. That's what they were. It was like, oh my goodness. So it was like a tangible release from the old, and it felt to me like a release from imprisonment. So I've never been in prison in this lifetime, but that was how I felt. I felt this like an emancipation or something. That was the energy of it. Or emerging from being in caves for a while. You know, a little bit like coming out into this extra bright light, feeling a bit dazed. Was that kind of like that stupefying kind of energy that you could have if you have, you know, been in a dark space for a while and you come out and, you know, you're a bit wide-eyed and blinking and trying to find your footing, find an adjustment. So it was I ended up writing, you know, coming out feeling purified, cleared, and upgraded. So that was how I felt when I, you know, put my physical body into the day. And I wrote, I feel soft, vulnerable, and tentative. We are venturing into the new unknown. And so that can lead us to feeling like that. Hello, Fiona, welcome. So exciting times as we emerge more and more into clarity, into our illuminated light and truth. And in the physical in New Zealand, this has shown up as a release or resignation of our Prime Minister, and we will see a lot more of this across the world, is what I believe. And we've seen a couple of bits of it, haven't we? So we've seen a lot of strong protesting in Brazil over one of their appointments or election issues. And I don't kind of take it on board, but I noticed that there's been a couple of other things. I probably should write notes so I could tell you, but I haven't. So a newly Oh, I wrote this. A newly suggested replacement we likely ought to give little heed to. Because this is not about new leadership, this is about a new system. So I can't promise you about the timing of it, but we are moving towards having a much smaller number of beings who take those roles, that people will be more specialised in their expertise for them. It'll be much flatter. There'll be a broader spectrum of people involved. It will become more local governance. That's what I've been shown. So we're into the new, and this old style of politics and of government has had its day. That's what I wrote this morning. I'm nervous and excited, and my heart is racing. What is to come? In Gaia's cave, I'm watching the horse races. So, I'm not saying that horse racing is a grand sport, but this was the analogy. Her and I were watching the horse racing in the cave, and they are racing across the finish line. And Gaia and I are jumping up and down in excitement. We collapse into one another's arms, laughing and giggling. It matters not who won. It was just that they all got over the finish line. So I thought that was quite interesting because it was quite telling in some ways. It just got us to this new place. That was really the message that came. But also, we're shifting out of having this from being competitive to being collaborative. And I've played a lot of sports in my life, and there's I can be into winning in that regard, but in our way of being with one another, that's one of the things that we're shifting. There's a long list I've written, and I probably won't talk about those today, but we have made it into this brand new era, this new timeline, new energy and frequency. We have arrived into our fifth dimensional bandwidth, and allow yourself to sit, to mull, to contemplate, to feel. You may feel discombobulated, nervous, swirly, unsettled. Just relax. Just let it wash over you. Allow the energy and you to find its level. It's like I was saying to a friend today, I feel energetically as though I have been and on a whole lot of levels, like stretched, really, really stretched to come to this point of being able to do nothing except collapse into the middle. And I think this is a part of our experience here as humans right now, is to be able to come into the 0 point, come into the center. And so for me personally, I've that's been my experience. I feel like I've been stretched in a whole lot of ways, and that's what I've been observing, just stretched and stretched and stretched. And I feel that's it. It's like we will make this so that all that you can do is go with it. All that you can do is surrender. All that you can do is to collapse into that 0 point. And so it's for you, for me, for us to find peace in the nothingness, or in the new, or in whatever arises. Today is the day to be like the Buddha. What is. Allow the energies to arise, to fall, witness and observe, and allow them to be leaving, releasing. And you can process this through this observational stance, this transformation of all that is. And we will then begin to notice the new foundational energies arrive. So be in celebration on this day. and it certainly has carried those codes and energies. Hi, I don't know what that says. Arcto girl, Arctos girl. Thank you for the updates. Oh, nice to have you here on the live. Energies are amazing at the moment. Periods of missing time, folks starting to wake up at work. Oh, yes, yay. Oh, I know about the missing time. That's just quite a new phenomena, I think, for a lot of us. And I don't know, but, well, I do know, but I don't know about you people here, but, is that how you felt today on this day of the 22nd? This day, remember, Gaia said it would be, or like the divine masculine example was, the meerkats coming out of their holes and with their heads looking around to where they go, and then when the gong goes, they go off to the burrow where they're meant to be with their divine counterpart, and that knowing of where they're meant to go. But that's a specific example of this energy of the day. It's this, we're doing that on all platforms. So that's in our work, that's in our geography, that's in our house or location, in our job, in partnerships, where in the beginning points of this physical, tangible, moving, landing, relocating to where you're meant to be. Fiona's saying this time isn't much of a thing anymore. No, and also it feels quite elongated and stretched to me, the time at the moment. And I feel that's because we're more into the quantum. And Gaia always has shown me, when I asked her to teach me a little bit about the quantum, she said, see the quantum as something that you put your, it's like you focus into the quantum and it expands or retracts to meet the needs of your occasion, experience, event, project, process. And so it has more of that kind of context. So yeah, very exciting. And I'll leave you. And yes, it was the other thing. Oh, so I heard some sort of truther stuff today, which isn't necessarily showing up, but it might. And it was interesting. So interesting, the Prime Minister resigning, and interesting that we're in this brand new time of the Chinese New Year, and then all of this information that came about this day, this new level of frequencies and energies, and then there's the sense that we're on the edges of something else that's going to be this very tangible physical experience in our world that might be a little bit like a shunting, if you like, a shunting into something new, a little bit of an extra cleanup. We'll see how that shows up. But yeah, it's interesting to me how it's all kind of encapsulated in this little time frame. Anyway, I wish you a very happy new year. Cheers to you. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy this incredible energy. Notice the effect that it has as part of our transformation into the new, into our new bodies, our new Christed light, our new surroundings, the new kind of, I want to say effervescence, the light that we're seeing in our world and nature and the skies, and the feeling of the vibration of it. It really has this whole sense of being new. So we'll have a little feel of it. So Larissa, in the middle of winter, and they have 21 degrees. Yeah. That's so interesting, isn't it? So our weather is in a mismatch, but I You know, I love the I love this phrase I saw, which said, you know, dear government, I will take your climate change scenario seriously when you stop placing chemtrails in our sky, putting toxins in our water, and poisonous additives into our food. And I think that that sums a lot of that up. Interestingly, a long time ago, Gaia said to me that when we moved into this new time, into our higher dimensional space, which we've come into the edges of, that we would have. So when we move, I sort of feel like we're still doing this a bit, you know, into our fifth dimensional as a planet, that we would have. A lot of days of continuous light, of continuous daylight, and that we would have a lot of aureola borealis in the sky, and that would sit everywhere around the world. It gave me the impression, I should ask you more about it, but that we would have, you know, like the endless days of summer or something for a little bit. So, Fiona saying, any thoughts about all the planets going direct today? I think that that has a direct link to our experience, Fiona. So this is allowing us to go higher, to have a higher experience, to move into the positive, more grounded in our physical world, these higher perhaps intentions, the miracles, the magic, bringing it into form. That's what I believe. And if you haven't, then go and listen to the video about the 22nd, which incorporates some of that. Lauren saying, often finding when the energies are high, feeling better later in the day and wide awake at night. Yeah, they can. The gamma rays that are coming in on the light waves as part of the solar energies, they use up the melatonin in our body. So in their integration and their coming in, they're using up the melatonin stored in our body, and it's the melatonin in our body that helps us to sleep. So if you can get some melatonin drops, that's likely to help. Anyway, I love you all so much, and I wish you so much love through this time. And yeah, begin to ask yourself those internal queries about what will I do next? Where is my next project, my next focus, and focus on the miracles. See you again soon.